Hello and welcome to the London United Filmmaker Podcast. My name is Gregory Randolph. Today I have the distinct pleasure of speaking with Nacho Martin. On this podcast we talk about growing up in Spain, his most recent film that he wrote and directed, Max Sierra, and a recent project he produced, Blondi, a short film from the perspective of Hitler's dog. Enjoy! Nacho Martin, I'd like to welcome you to the London United Filmmaking Podcast. My name is Greg Randolph, and we're really excited to have you here discussing your films, a little bit about your background, and what the future holds for you as a filmmaker. So without further ado, I'd like to just go right into it. Maybe you could talk a little bit about your previous experiences filmmaking, what got you into filmmaking. I think there's a lot of people out there that are curious. A lot of us are coming from London Film School and different parts of, every part of the world. And but I don't think we get the chance to speak that often about our backgrounds and stuff like that. So this is kind of our opportunity to go there and talk a little bit. So just curious about all of this.
Well, thank you very much for having me here, Greg. It's great to connect with other LFS students. Going to filmmaking. So I think when I was 4 years old, Harry Potter came out, Lord of the Rings came out, and then I think the second Star Wars film came out, and my dad took me to watch all of them in the cinema. So it was like going into different worlds that I didn't know I could experience. And then from that, especially Lord of the Rings, I love battles. So he just took me to watch history epics like Troy, 300, Last of the Samurai, all in the cinema. He just snuck me in despite the age restrictions, which to be fair in Spain, they are not that strict. As long as you pay. So I was really captivated by all these films and how I could be transported not just to a world that doesn't exist, but to an era that I'm not part of. And from there, I will get the DVDs of these movies, and I wasn't allowed to watch TV during weekdays after school, but I was allowed to watch documentaries. So very cheekily, I started watching making of films, and the biggest one was Lord of the Rings, because I think per film there was like 12 hours of filmmaking. So I will see all these miniatures and big battles. I will do that. I will watch those films and watch those documentaries and recreate them with my Playmobiles and later on Legos. And then when I was 8, I think I was 10, it's still too young, my dad showed me Saving Private Ryan. Which was nuts. I didn't know I could experience a film that way, and I also watched the making ofs, and I watched clips of this film that Spielberg shot when he was 10 or 15. He was 15. Escape to Nowhere, which you can watch. You can see that film and how he made it in his latest film, The Fabelmans. And I saw how they made this film with real World War II guns and props. I didn't have any of those, but we had Nerf guns. So me and my friends, usually 10, and then later my cousins, we will make all these war movies. And then I was introduced to Sergio Leone, and then I started making westerns with my cousins in this little town that was hot, very very hot and very very empty. So it was perfect.
What area of Spain was this?
So I grew up in Madrid, and most of this I shot them in Madrid. But then the town, we went back there to make the latest film that me and some friends shot. It's in the middle of Castilla-La Mancha, so it's near where Almodóvar is from, where the Quixote is based on, So I always liked these Hollywood movies, but I like to bring them home. And it was quite fun. And then I moved to London and joined the London Film School.
That's great. That's a great introduction. Yeah, Almodóvar, he just won at Venice Film Festival for his latest film. I'm really excited to see it. Yeah, it seems like a really interesting film, and that's really interesting. So you made it to London Film School. What drew you to the school, and what did you learn there? What was the big what was the big learning curve there?
So much. So I was before I didn't want to go to film school because most of these filmmakers that I liked never went. But then someone pointed out to me it's because they lived in Hollywood. So and then I started working in a dubbing studio and in a development studio for TV films in Barcelona, and they really recommended me to go to film school because they said like you're gonna meet wonderful people and it's gonna be great and you're gonna learn. And then more filmmakers that I started to like let's say Denis Villeneuve, I found out that they also did went to film school, and I was like, you know what, I just love movies. I spent most of my time there watching old films in the cinema, which I've never had the chance to do until I moved to Barcelona. So like Casablanca, The Searchers, Lawrence of Arabia, 70 millimeters. Like finally got to see all these films on the big screen, some of them for the first time. So I said let's do it. I finished my degree, which was in philosophy, politics, and economics. But
at what school was this?
Was at University of Essex.
Okay.
But while I was there, they Odeon introduced their limitless card, so I spent a fair amount of time going to the cinema. I think, every Thursday I will watch 4 movies, and then the rest of the week I will ease it off to focus on my assignments. But so I said, okay, let's go to film school. I've already made films with my family, with my friends, but I wanted to do it in a more professional way. They had, I really liked their course because I was gonna learn about all aspects of filmmaking, meet great people from all over the world, and work on, like, we were gonna build our sets, we were gonna shoot on film, 60 millimeters, 35 millimeters, things that it was great. And it was a big investment, but what I really liked is that we could experiment in a safe space, and I really did that. I think I made films that I don't think I would have ever made outside film school, and then I met wonderful people who I still work with. I've produced their films. They have been part of my films. We still read each other's scripts. We especially go to the cinema a lot, and we watch lots of our cuts and give each other's feedbacks and make each other cry, and then cheers when we finish a film and we're very happy with it. We went through everything.
Absolutely. That's the film school in a nutshell. I think I couldn't have said it better myself. I'm wondering, maybe you can talk a little bit about your grad film and what that experience was like. There's so many that get to that stage, and I just think there's a lot to talk about there. Yours had lots of action oriented, and that seems to be where you gravitate as a filmmaker, to action films, and I think there's subtext there as well, and maybe you can go into that a little bit and discuss your grad film and what that experience was like.
So my grad film is Runaway Killers. It's an short action thriller film. It's the first action film that I made with a stuntman, which was a lot of fun. We weren't planning to do so, but we realized that it would have been a hazard not to have someone on set overseeing fights and props, so we went for it, and it was an amazing experience. But first of all, the movies that I made in film school were not action films. The ones that I did before, yes, but not the ones at school. I was watching a lot of, let's say Fellini or Bob Fosse and Elia Kazan, and the school really encouraged us to make films that were personal and connected to our roots, no matter where we came from. So I can say we made little dramas, and I really enjoyed what I learned. I don't think it was my strength, but it really showed me that what I really, really wanted to make was genre films, especially action and adventure. And I don't think they would be the way they are if I hadn't learned first how to make more intimate films, whether they were my own or other people's friends, because when they were so personal, we wanted to work so hard to get to where our colleagues, classmates, most importantly filmmaker friends, were trying to get. So with the film that we made, it was we wanted to make a action film. We wanted to follow genre tropes. We knew we had this template that we understood as filmmakers, but also whoever watched it as an audience, they understood. And then what I'm really interested is it's people being put in very difficult situations that and find out what the morality behind those situations and their decisions are, what is the right thing to do. And one thing that attracted me was that it's about 2 assassins who are seeing each other, and one of them runs away, so the other is ordered to kill him. And I was, oh, what do you do if your partner leaves? You don't know why, but you're ordered to kill him. Do you save him? Do you let's say, punish him for leaving you? And also, if you help him, are you okay with dealing with the consequences of that? Because to me, like, action, like, it's a lot of fun to watch, but if there is nothing behind it, if there is no motivation, I'm not that interested. Like, I just want to see why are people doing those decisions and what are the consequences of them. So it was like a way for us to explore that, and I think we were very, very happy, especially like we love working on location, which we didn't get to do that much on school as we work mostly on set. And working with a stuntman was great. And then working with friends, and we also was the first time shooting anamorphic and studying all these films that we all loved and actually making one film based on those, like Mission Impossible or John Woo films, was so much fun.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you in so many respects. I think the idea of like watching Terminator, I was watching Terminator the other day, and I think all the best horror and action films, have some type of like subtext going on that is reflecting what the action is doing, and that can be, there's many different ways that can be shown. So that's what I got from your grad film, and really what you've been working on recently, which I know we're kind of quickly going through your experience at school, but I want to get kind of towards the present and what you're doing now, now that you're a graduate. And you graduated London Film School when exactly?
I think I got my diploma in 2023 in the summer, but we finished the film then.
Maybe you can talk a little bit about what that experience was like finally, because I know, it's just an endless wheel of people going out into the industry after film school. Can you talk a little bit about what that was like right after? Because it can be a bit grim, but I think that we all are looking for like the light at the end of the tunnel with careers, and a lot of that's worked out for you. And very curious to hear about the project you did after, but maybe you can kind of like lead us in with that whole experience.
Yeah, there's plenty to talk about. So I was very cautious about how I entered started my professional career after school. So I actually started it before I graduated, before I even shot my grad film. So we had to deal with COVID, and that meant a couple of months without going to film school, and I worked on my projects, but at the same time I started looking for jobs. So the moment I will finish the school films, I could apply and start and then find a way to make films and also working. So I think the moment I finished my term 5 film, I started working at an Odeon, nice. And then I interned in a kids talent agency while I finished my term 6, which was the only term that it was theory classes, and since it was online, I would just turn up early or listen to the recordings after or before work. And then I started working at United Agents. I worked there the 6 months without working on any films, just helping friends and writing my own grad film. And I shot my graduation film at the end of my first year at United Agents. So,
oh, wow.
So most of my holidays went to shoot my film. I saved some of them to produce other or help on other friends' films, and I will go a weekend, 1 or 2. But they always shift schedules, and since I have to book holiday, that was very, very hard. But I managed to do some stuff. I also work on other friends' films outside school, so I produced a film that took place in a roller coaster with a camera.
Wow.
And somehow we got clean sound. But the movie goes beyond clean sound, but it was so much fun.
What can you talk a little bit about that film you produced, and with the context that London Film School does a lot of it's a multidisciplinary approach a lot of the time, and students are encouraged to go in a couple different directions to kind of vary their skill set when they leave. And so I think we're similar actually in that way as like writers, directors, and producers, which I think. There's a lot to talk about there as well. Just as far as I always say, Hitchcock was a director-producer, although it was very different back then producing films. But I think there's an aspect of, I'd say, like control, but also the ability to kind of reach out. And it's I think we're both like relatively affable people who can, you know, get the locations we want, figure out ways to get things done for a little bit less than a little bit more. And it seems like that you gravitated that, and so you produced a grad film as well. It would be great to hear about that.
Yeah, I've produced, since I started working at UA, I think I produced, if not counting my own, 4 films. So this one is directed by one of my best friends, Jack Salvadori, who always helps me. He did the costumes in Runaway Killers, and he edited the last one that we did, which I'll talk about it later.
And Jack is an LFS student as well.
No, I met him at the Venice Film Festival, and then we will run into each other at the BFI South Bank all the time. And even when we're great to watch films together, we will still run into each other when we went to see films by ourselves or with other friends. We both adore films. Like, I think we've been to Cannes twice, we've been to Venice twice. He goes there every year. LFF, we experience it together. He's the biggest film lover I've ever met. It's insane. Like, it's and he's quite passionate, and all his films are quite crazy, so it's always a pleasure to produce them. And this one, it was like we shot it in a roller coaster, and it was a lot of fun. And what I took from LFS then is that I took people I have met, whether in LFS productions that were not students or LFS students, and they were part of it, and it was just a fantastic experience.
Yeah.
And we produced another one earlier this year in spring, which is we placed the camera on a dog, Lexi, and she shot the entire film. We think the cinema gods were with us because she did, like, every shot came out perfectly, and we still cannot believe how. We finished the film, and we're gonna premiere it in 3 weeks. We still can't believe how that film exists. But yeah, I think we also think it's the first film entirely shot by a dog, so we call it the cinematographer. But it was good fun. And then I produced a friend of mine's horror film. It's the first short film I produced in which we paid the crew, which I've never experienced, so budgeting that was a challenge. But we had to do some of the paperwork that I learned at school, and then a lot of the people in the crew are from LFS. So Lucas, Kelly, the Ethiopian and camera operator, Dovidas, whose film just went to Cannes. He's a director, but he was a spark. With us. I think actually he was the gaffer. He wasn't the spark. We didn't have any sparks. And then we had Anna, who we met through Kelly's short film, and she was the PD, and she was so great. So every time I make movies, I bring people. You know, you've worked with Alice as a PD in your grad film. She was in Blondi, the doc film. So I always try to connect people as much as possible.
Absolutely, that's a key trait of any good producer. So I definitely respect that. That's something you gotta keep in the back of your mind. That's amazing. So that really helps kind of round out your experience at London Film School. I'm interested because you're full time right now, employed, which is a big step for a lot of us after film school. I was wondering if you could speak a little bit about your job at United Agents. Is that correct? And because it sounds like you started that career before you even finished film school. But can you talk a little bit about what that entails, what the job entails, and what the experience has been like? Yeah,
it's been pretty good. I started in the actors department, and now I'm in the film, TV, and books department. So first I assisted 2 agents who had actors, who represented actors, and I will work every day with casting, and we'll try to find projects for them. So it will get me an idea of what it was like working with actors, agents, but also casting directors. And I met some of them, one especially who I'm very close with, and now is casting one of my closest friends' film. So again, I'm connecting people. The real reason why I applied for that job, I wanted to work in a production company, and then I found agenting jobs, which it seems like it required the personality I have, and I really wanted to have a job that was like 9 to 5, and so I knew when I was free and when I was not. So therefore, I knew when I could work on my films and other friends' films. And when I could not. Although sometimes they will clash. But when you really want to make a movie, you have no choice. By all means. Exactly. So and then I switched to the film and TV department. So my
when did that happen, and what kind of precipitated
a year ago? So I was just more interested in working with other types of clients.
Sure.
In this case, now I work with screenwriters, playwriters, film directors, theater directors, and composers. And then also we represent the screen rights for film, television, and also stage rights for the books that are represented by the company.
Sure.
So now I see like what it's like meeting production companies that want a specific kind of story and they kind of books, and then we just pitch them to them, and then what it's like to option them and the entire process.
It must be very eye-opening coming from like a director, right? Like from your, like directing and writing and producing background to see the professional layer of how these things get done. Has there been any big, like, because I imagine always in the back of your mind you've got an idea for another film coming up, whether it's a feature or a short. Has any of these experiences inspired you in some way to think, oh, I can do this now, and now I know the process of it, or is it more like, oh my God, this is like a way bigger deal, and I should think more about funding before what's been the process there like, especially working with probably people who have been at United Agents and doing this type of work for years and years and years, been in the industry quite a while.
Yeah, you just get an idea of how to work with agents, producers, actors from a business point of view.
Yeah.
So this film industry is full of very creative people from all over the world, and now more people from different backgrounds are joining the industry, and it's very exciting. But there are so many of us that you learn how to be efficient, how to work with other people, how to treat people properly, let's say.
Yeah.
As there are a lot of egos, so you want, you have casting directors who want this, and you have producers who want that, and you have clients that they want that, and then sometimes they, what a production is like. It can be chaos, and I've seen it all from offices. I haven't seen it on set, but like, I think the biggest takeaway is connections are very important. If you want to, let's say, get a film done, it's very important that you have a name attached, especially an actor sometimes. For example, with books, they are very difficult to adapt, but if an actor or a well-known writer or director is interested in adapting it, they will get it done a lot easily, because people will be more confident working behind that name, knowing that there is an audience for them. But I think one of the most important things is the client-agent relationships, because what I've seen is that it's...
And by client-agent, you mean, say it's the screenwriter, whoever the agent of the creative, whether it's the director or... So, screenwriter, I see.
So, for example, let's say a screenwriter who's represented by me. Yeah. I'm not an agent, I'm an assistant, but I'm pretty, like... If the agent is the parent, I am the nanny.
Okay, got it.
So I have like office hours, but the agent doesn't have office hours.
Yeah.
They are like, it's a full time, 24/7 most of the time. But yeah, like you get to see like how they can collaborate together, because you have to trust each other, you have to respect each other, and then since you're gonna be working with so many people, you have this agent that puts you forward, you have this client that represents you, but also this client that recommends people to work with you. So you have to know how to work with each other. You have to know the kind of relationship that you have and take care of it from both parts. You have to understand that there are many screenwriters out there are many directors out there. You can be in the Harry Potter TV show, and it can be because you're a fantastic writer, but someone else can quickly replace you. So you have to know how to work with others, and then you have to understand that your agent you're one of their many clients. So there is a place for everyone, and everyone has a different voice, but be able to work with everyone. I think it's very tricky. But
and you're just getting into it. I mean, you're still early on in your career here. So you're probably still learning a lot and just understanding like the rhythm and the lingo and everything like that. So
every day is a school day.
Yeah, I'm sure the people you're running into are probably it's stories.
Yeah, everyone has their own story, especially based on their own experiences. But the most important thing is like you are unique, and then you have a voice that not everyone has, and you can come on board a project and bring something that not everyone can do, but also other people have that same power and that same strength, and everyone is in it together at the end of the day. So you have to do what you're best at, and most importantly, when you're working with all these many people, be grateful, be happy to work it, be able to listen to everyone, because if you are a writer but you're in a writer's room, and you're a director, and then we see how we develop their career, so we see that it's not just how good they are at their job, but how good they are working with other people. And the better they are at both of those things, the agent will be happier to work with them.
Sure.
And their assistants will be happier to go further for them, and also like other producers will be able to happier to work with them, because they have heard so many great things about what it's like being in projects together.
Absolutely, yeah. Open mind is key, it sounds like, in that regard. So, I mean, again, this, I think I'm sure as a writer, director, and producer, I'm sure it keeps your mind open as you're making you're developing your own projects, right? You want to continue to make films, and that seems to have precipitated in Max Sierra, which you kindly invited me to. I'm sorry I wasn't able to make it, but it sounded like it was a great event, and I've had the chance to see it and really enjoyed it. And I was wondering if you could just tell us more about it, and the experience of making it. It was this beautiful action film, short film, and it was kind of a joint Spain and UK production. And just if you could tell us more.
Yeah, Max Sierra is like the culmination of everything I learned to do and not to do in film school and before. So it is an action-packed film. We shot 1/3 in Spain and 2/3 in London, and it originated from two places. When we shot our grad film Runaway Killers, because it was the first time working with a stuntman, we didn't really know how far we could push it, and we were very happy with the results, but we realized that we could take it even further, so we wanted to explore that. Then the second thing is that I knew that if I went back to Spain and shot a film in my grandma's town, which is like quite not very big, I could shoot a car chase for free.
Yeah.
And I just took it from there, and I decided to make also a very personal action film.
Yeah.
So you have this guy who's from Spain and moves to London, like me, like the lead actor, and to a certain extent the crew as well. They don't come from Spain, but they come from China, they come from France, and they come from Switzerland. And then we took our experiences and tried to make the silliest but also most personal film. So for example, Max's family in Spain, his uncle is played by my dad, his aunt is played by my mom, his grandma is played by my grandma, and my grandma's sisters are also in the film playing my grandma's sisters. And then when we went to London, we shot in our houses. The DOP Lucas, who did an amazing job, he was struggling to find a house to move in London, so we also see Max trying to look for a house in London. The exact same situations that both Lucas and I have gone through, but we added assassins trying to kill Max. So essentially the film is about this guy, Max, who fights crime in Spain, and he's very good at it. He's like, you will see him jump into motorbikes, chase cars, fight people, jump from rooftops, and be very witty, but he doesn't want to fight anymore. He just wants to move to London, learn English, and have a normal life, and
get away from the chaos of what area of Spain was this that you were filming in? This is your hometown.
It's my grandma's hometown. So I didn't grow up there, but I will go there a few times every year in summer and in Christmas. It's like my call me by your name town, I sometimes say. But it's the name of the town is Velada, and it's in Castilla-La Mancha. It's like 30 minutes away from Toledo.
Okay.
Which is the old Spanish capital. And we found it very colorful. It was very Almodovar. We were able to to do whatever we wanted there. We asked the mayor, and it was great. Like for the car chases, we'll put the police.
You got the mayor involved.
Yeah, he was involved, and then we had the police involved, and he said, just call us whenever you want to shoot a car chase. So we didn't even have a schedule. We just call the policeman. He will put cones on the street, and then he will leave the police car blocking one of the streets, and then he would go to the bar to smoke a cigarette while we were running around with a car, with 2 cars and a motorbike, because he has one car had the camera, one car was for the chase, and then the motorbike. Yeah, and we had like a handmade crane attached in one of the cars. I don't know how no one got hurt, but that was great. And then London was also a lot of fun. We've never seen a short film that takes place in 2 countries.
Sure.
So that was pretty good. And then we knew some stuntmen there, so we had more elaborated fights. But at the end, you see this guy go through exactly what we went through, and that's something that I really want to do. I really want to make genre films, especially action adventure, but also keep them as personal, because I don't think that those are mutually exclusive. I think you can, whatever you make, it's gonna be personal. If you're making the most generic action film and you have to see a good guy being a good guy, it's going to be your own interpretation of being a good guy. Even if you're filming exactly what someone asks you to do, where you place the camera, how you direct the actor, how you write those lines, it's still gonna be your conception of good versus evil. So I would love to work on like TV and especially films, large format, because I just love going to the cinema.
Yeah.
One thing I love in London is, you have, every time Nolan releases a film, I'm there at the BFI IMAX or Dune. Like, they're doing, like, now the Star Wars marathon. I've never seen them in the cinema or in Dolby. It's going to all of them. But then, because of LFS, we could go to the BFI for free. So I will go there, like, almost 9 times a week when I could. And I, like, whether it was on film or not. And I think the biggest film education I got is watching films, especially old films, because they didn't have that much technology. That's one thing we took from Max era. We had a Blackmagic, we had a handmade crane that someone let us borrow, and a gimbal, but and
anamorphics, that's something. That's great.
We did it. I mean, also the crew was like 5 of us. It was the producer, the director, the DOP, the sound recordist, and we had a producer in London, a producer in Spain, and then some days we'll have people helping. Like one day we had a stuntman in London. In Spain we had like a production manager who helped us film the car chase, and I want to say stuntmen, but they were just friends who knew how to control that motorbike better than us and knew the streets better. So it was a labor of love. And when you watch, for example, either like a Fritz Lang film with Henry Fonda from the 30s, which is, they are at the height of their powers. They cannot do so much because they don't have the technology, and they will show a lot with just a shot, a cut, and sound. So we just said, why don't we just do that? Like we took... we looked at Mission Impossible, Steven Spielberg. We looked at Eric Romer and Almodovar because we were filming in the summer. We were Buster Keaton.
Romer, you get a taste of Romer in that for sure. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, the dinner, like you have 3 people talking. We don't even cut between them. It's like, it's like a Romer film. They just people talking. And Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin. Like we just took all the John Wick as well.
Yeah.
We watched John Wick 4 and we're gonna try to do that. The biggest challenge of the film is that I couldn't find we couldn't get as many extras to be assassins as I wanted to. Like, I wanted shots of, Max Era running away from 20 people who were behind them, or, sneaking in the tube, getting lost in the Northern Line as he's trying to get to a job interview and someone is trying to kill him. But, maybe for the feature film or TV show.
It's good to be ambitious. I would say that. So that's fantastic. It's such a great insight, and I hope it develops interest in the film and people wanting to see it. And maybe there's some way we can have people have access to it. Really, right now, you're looking, I imagine, at some festivals, or maybe there's a place online. If at some point it's online, maybe there's some link I can send. We'll end up putting this podcast onto some social media, so maybe we can direct people to it, or at least a trailer or something like that, just to pique people's interest. But that's what a lovely insight into your Max Sierra and just some of the ideas that went into it. As we wrap up the podcast, I wanted to talk a little bit about the future, and it sounds like you have this lovely career at United Agents, and you've got this great film in your back pocket now, and you're able to show that to the world through some film festivals and things like that. But you must have you're an ambitious guy, so you must have plans for future projects, and we'd love to hear just a little bit about what you're thinking in regards to the future for you as a filmmaker.
It's like my films show, I guess. The biggest thing that I want to do is make action and adventure short films. TV shows and films. I really would love to learn more about how to like get things on camera, whether it's stunts or special effects.
Yeah.
So, I'm getting now. I don't have a driver's license, and I should have filmed with a
Yeah.
car chase. So I'm like now working on that. I'm doing my lessons, so I can like work on some sets and see how they make all those big action blockbuster films. I hope I get to have the opportunity. But then I can never stop watching movies, writing. I love reading film books. Like now I'm reading a biography on Clint Eastwood, so getting to see how
good.
they shot all those films on location, and like Unforgiven or High Plains Drifter. Like it's always a good insight. It never stops inspiring me. But it's always keep writing films.
Yeah.
Any ideas that you have from watching films, from reading books, from talking to friends, from witnessing crazy things that you don't think you have ever witnessed, and then works toward that. But yes, mostly like action, action and adventure, especially because the earlier films were silent films, and you will see people do things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to me, like the essence of, the purest form of cinema is you see people do things. It doesn't have to be a fight, but you just see them, whether it's dancing, whether it's following someone they love, or whatever it can be, and then from those actions you get to learn who they are, what they do, and how they do it. Especially I get to I get to do that with action films. That's the way I like expressing myself. But I hope to keep directing those kind of films, but also producing friends' films that are completely different to what I do, because that's one thing I love about films, that I don't have to just be involved in my own. I get to work on other people's visions and learn new things, meet new people, and understand filmmaking and cinema in a way that I've never done it before.
Well, with that, I think the podcast comes to an end. And just again, Nacho, thank you so much for being here. And we'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. And hopefully one day we'll get to hear about the films that you made.
Absolutely,
I can't wait for that.
Yep, let's make it happen.